Saudi Arabia just walked into Washington with a briefcase full of AI deals. No oil, no OPEC meetings, just algorithms and ambition. And if you think this is just another tech handshake, you're missing the biggest power shift of the decade. 6 years ago, Saudi Arabia was all about barrels and pipelines. Today, they're training 1 million people in artificial intelligence, building their own AI models, and pitching themselves as America's next big tech partner. Abdullah Al-Swaha, the kingdom's digital czar, didn't fly to the US to talk about crude oil. He came to talk about code, data, and the future of computing. This isn't just diplomacy. This is Saudi Arabia rewriting its entire identity, and the world isn't paying attention yet. Let's rewind for a second. For decades, Saudi Arabia has been synonymous with one thing: oil. The black gold that powered economies, started wars, and made the kingdom one of the richest nations on earth. But here's the problem with oil. It runs out, markets shift, electric vehicles are taking over, and suddenly, the thing that made you powerful becomes the thing that could break you. Enter Vision 2030. Back in 2016, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman dropped this massive blueprint to transform Saudi Arabia from an oil-dependent economy into a diversified, future-ready powerhouse. And buried in that plan was something most people overlooked at the time: a full-blown commitment to artificial intelligence and digital infrastructure. Fast forward to today. Saudi Arabia has built an entire AI ecosystem in less than a decade. We're talking about a national data and AI authority, homegrown AI models, partnerships with global tech giants, and a program literally called 1 Million Saudis in AI that's already trained over 334,000 citizens. That's not a side project, that's a national mission. Here's where it gets wild. Saudi Arabia isn't just dipping its toes into AI, they're diving in headfirst with billions of dollars. The kingdom has invested heavily in data centers, cloud infrastructure, and AI research hubs. They've launched initiatives to attract global talent, partnered with universities, and even created regulatory frameworks for ethical AI before most countries figured out what that even means. And it's not just about building tech, it's about building people. The 1 Million Saudis in AI program isn't just a catchy slogan, it's a government-backed effort to make sure Saudi citizens aren't left behind in the AI revolution. They're offering free training, certifications, and pathways into tech careers. Over 334,000 people have already gone through the program. That's like training the population of a mid-sized city to understand machine learning, data science, and neural networks. So why is Abdullah Al-Swaha in Washington right now? Because Saudi Arabia knows something crucial. You can build all the AI infrastructure you want, but if you don't have partnerships with the people who control the technology, you're playing on someone else's chessboard. The United States is home to the most advanced AI companies on the planet: OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia. These aren't just companies, they're the architects of the AI age. Saudi Arabia wants in. Not as a customer, as a partner. Al-Swaha's mission is simple but bold. Lock down alliances with Silicon Valley and Washington. Get access to advanced computing resources. Build joint ventures. Share research. And most importantly, position Saudi Arabia as the bridge between Western AI innovation and the Middle East's growing digital economy. Here's where the kingdom is being smart. They're not coming in aggressive, they're coming in diplomatic. The pitch to American officials is wrapped in all the right buzzwords: ethical AI, privacy protection, human-centric innovation, collaboration, transparency. They're saying, look, we know you're worried about AI falling into the wrong hands. We get it. So let's work together. Let's build frameworks. Let's create standards. Let's make sure AI is developed responsibly. It's soft power coded in Python, and it's working. Because here's the thing, the US is nervous about China's AI dominance. They're nervous about losing the tech race. Saudi Arabia is positioning itself as a strategic ally, a wealthy, ambitious, English-speaking partner in a region that's historically been complicated for American tech companies. But let's not pretend this is all smooth sailing. There are big questions here. Saudi Arabia's human rights record is controversial. Press freedom is limited. Surveillance technology is extensive. So when they talk about ethical AI, people raise eyebrows. Can you build human-centric artificial intelligence in a system that's criticized for limiting human freedom? That's the question American policymakers are wrestling with. And it's not just about morals, it's about risk. If Saudi Arabia gets access to cutting-edge AI technology, what happens to that tech? Who gets to use it? What safeguards are in place? Then there's the bigger picture. Saudi Arabia is trying to balance relationships with everyone. They're courting the US, but they're also tight with China. They're investing in Russian projects. They're building ties across Asia, Africa, and Europe. It's a multipolar strategy, and it makes traditional alliances nervous. The US wants Saudi Arabia to pick a side, but Saudi Arabia is playing a different game. They're building optionality. They want to be the hub, not the spoke. And in the AI world, that means having access to American innovation, Chinese manufacturing, and European regulation all at once. Here's the genius move. For a century, Saudi Arabia's power came from what was under the ground. Oil, the resource everyone needed, the leverage that brought influence, armies, and alliances. But oil is finite, data isn't, AI doesn't run out, and Saudi Arabia just figured out how to apply the same playbook to a completely different resource. They're not drilling for crude anymore, they're drilling for data. They're building the infrastructure to process it, the talent to use it, and the partnerships to monetize it. Oil once bought influence, now it's data doing the drilling. That's not just a clever line, that's the entire strategy. If this works, Saudi Arabia won't just be a regional tech hub, they'll be the gateway for AI in the Middle East. Every company that wants to operate in that market will have to go through Riyadh. Every AI model trained for Arabic speakers will need Saudi infrastructure. Every data center serving the region will be built on Saudi land. That's not just economic transformation, that's strategic dominance. And they're building it while the rest of the world is still arguing about whether AI is overhyped. This visit to Washington isn't just about one deal or one partnership, it's about setting the tone for the next decade. Saudi Arabia is signaling that they're serious. They're not the old kingdom that just wrote checks and bought influence. They're the new kingdom that builds infrastructure, trains citizens, and partners with superpowers. And here's the uncomfortable truth. They're moving fast. Faster than most democracies can, because when you're a monarchy with a clear vision and unlimited resources, you don't have to wait for elections, congressional approval, or public opinion polls. You just build. So what do we do with this information? Do we welcome Saudi Arabia as a tech partner? Do we stay cautious? Do we compete? Do we collaborate? The answer probably isn't black and white, but what's clear is this. The world's power structure is shifting. It's not just about military might or oil reserves anymore. It's about who controls the algorithms, who owns the data, and who builds the infrastructure that runs the future. Saudi Arabia just put itself in that conversation, and whether you like it or not, they're not leaving. Subscribe for more such videos and click on bell icon to get updated.